Imagine you are a captain of a big, strong ship. Your ship has a clear map and a goal to reach a beautiful island. People want to get on your ship because they know you are going somewhere great. Now, imagine a person gets on your ship but starts complaining, acting lazy, or trying to change your map. If you are a captain who knows his value, you tell that person, "This is my ship and this is where we are going. If you do not like the rules, the ocean is right there." You are not mean, but you are firm. But many men today act like a captain who is begging people to stay on a sinking boat. They change their map just to make one person happy. They stop moving toward their island just to keep a passenger from leaving. Today, we are going to learn 10 rules to help you stay the captain of your own life. We will learn how to be a man who is a priority because he is moving forward, not a man who is an option because he is standing still. Most people live by default. We live by design. If you are the person quietly dismantling old patterns to build a future that actually belongs to you, you've found your circle. We don't do victim here, we do vision. Subscribe to sharpen your awareness, leave a comment, and bring your insight to the table. No noise, no ego, just the blueprint for a stronger mind. Let's get to work. The first rule for any man who wants respect is never let your phone become a leash. In simple terms, this means that you do not have to answer every text or call the second you get it. Psychology tells us that if you are always on call, people stop valuing your time. They think you have nothing important to do. If a woman texts you and you drop your gym weights or stop your work just to reply "hi," you are showing her that she is more important than your own life. A man who is a priority has a life that is busy. He replies when he is free, not when he is told to. This shows that he is a man of purpose. Let's look at a story about a man named Stephen. Stephen was a very kind man who worked as a builder. He met a woman named Sarah. Stephen liked Sarah very much, so he wanted to show her he was always there for her. Every time Sarah sent a yellow face emoji or a short text, Stephen would stop his work to write a long, loving message back. Sometimes Sarah would go silent for 2 days, and Stephen would send 5 more messages asking if she was okay. He thought this showed he was a good man. The negative outcome for Stephen was the loss of attraction. Sarah didn't see a good man, she saw a man who was needy. She started to feel like Stephen was a child who needed her attention to feel happy. She began to treat him like an option. She would only call him when her other friends were busy. Stephen felt like he was working a second job just to get her to say hello. Eventually, Sarah left him for a man who was much busier and didn't chase her. Stephen learned that you cannot text a woman into loving you. If you give all your mystery away through a screen, she has nothing to come and see in person. Have you ever felt like your mood depends on a little red bubble on your phone? If she texts, you are happy. If she doesn't, you are sad. This is a sign that you have made her the captain of your ship. Tell us in the comments, how did you learn to put your phone down and focus on yourself? Rule number 2 is build your own kingdom before you invite a queen. Many men think that finding a woman will make their life perfect. But the truth is, a woman wants to walk into a life that is already good. If your room is dirty, your body is weak, and your bank account is empty, you are not a priority, you are a project. A man of value spends his 20s and 30s building his kingdom. He focuses on his health, his money, and his mind. When your kingdom is strong, you don't need a woman to be happy. You only want a woman who adds peace to the kingdom you already built. Rule number 3 is your no is your power. If you agree with everything a woman says, you are not a partner, you are a yes man. Psychology shows that women are attracted to men who have their own opinions. If she suggests a movie you hate, say, "I don't really like that, let's watch this instead." If she asks you to do something that breaks your rules, say, "No, I don't do that." When you say no, you are showing that you have boundaries. A man without boundaries is a man who can be used. A man with boundaries is a man who must be respected. Rule number 4 is, be willing to be alone. This is the most important rule. If you are afraid of being alone, you will accept bad behavior just to have someone in the house. You will let people lie to you, ignore you, and treat you like an option because you are scared of the silence. But a man who is a priority loves his own company. He enjoys his hobbies and his quiet time. Because he is not starving for attention, he only eats at the table where respect is served. If a woman treats him poorly, he is happy to go back to being alone because his own company is better than bad company. Let's look at a positive story about a man named Brian. Brian used to stay in bad relationships because he was scared of being single. But one year, he decided to stay single and work on himself. He met a woman named Jennifer. Jennifer was used to men doing whatever she wanted. On their third date, Jennifer was very rude to the waiter at the restaurant. Brian didn't like this. Instead of ignoring it to keep her happy, Brian said, "I don't like being around people who are mean to staff. I'm going to pay for my drink and leave now." The positive outcome for Brian was the power of the standard. Jennifer was shocked. No man had ever walked away from her before. She realized that Brian had high standards. She called him the next day and apologized. She started to treat Brian with a lot of respect because she knew that if she acted poorly again, Brian would simply leave. Brian learned that by being willing to lose her, he actually made the relationship stronger. He was no longer an option she could play with. He was a man she had to be her best self for. Do you think it is hard to walk away when someone is mean, or do you stay because you hope they will change? Tell us in the comments. What is one rule you have for how people must treat you? Rule number 5 is never defend your value. If a woman says, "Why should I date you?" or "What do you have to offer?" do not start making a list. Do not tell her about your car, your money, or how nice you are. When you explain your value, you are acting like a salesman trying to sell a bad product. A man of value simply smiles and says, "You'll have to find out." If she doesn't see your value by looking at how you live, then she is not the right person for you. Let your life be the proof. Rule number 6 is keep your circle strong. A man who only spends time with his girlfriend is a man who is losing his strength. You need brotherhood. You need other men who will tell you the truth, keep you sharp, and push you to be better. When a woman sees that you have a strong circle of friends, she knows that you are not dependent on her for your social life. This makes her feel like she is a part of your world, not your whole world. It keeps the relationship healthy and balanced. Control your eyes and your energy. If you are out with a woman but you are looking at every other girl who walks by, you are showing that you have no discipline. But also, if you are constantly checking her phone or being jealous, you are showing that you are insecure. A man of value is present. He gives his attention to the person he is with, but he is also indifferent to things he cannot control. He doesn't beg for her loyalty. He simply remains a man who is worth being loyal to. Don't be a fixer of her drama. Some men think that if they solve all of a woman's problems, they will love them forever. But if she is always in drama with her friends, her family, or her ex, and you are the one always saving her, you are becoming a tool. In psychology, we see that people often resent the person who saves them because it reminds them of their own weakness. Be supportive, but do not jump into the fire for someone who loves to play with matches. Action over talking. If you say you're going to go to the gym, go. If you say you're going to start a business, start it. If you tell her you will pick her up at 7 o'clock, be there at 7 o'clock. When your words match your actions, you become reliable. Reliability is a huge part of respect. A man whose word means nothing is always an option. A man whose word is gold is always a priority because people know they can trust him to do what he says. Always stay in the driver's seat. This doesn't mean you boss her around. It means you are the one who has a plan for your life. You know where you are going. If she wants to come along and help you, that is great. But if she wants to go a different way, you don't turn the car around. You keep driving towards your goals. A woman wants to be with a man who is certain. When you are certain about your life, she can be certain about you. When a man builds a house, he doesn't just put up the walls and then walk away. He has to check the roof when it rains. He has to fix the windows when the wind blows. A relationship is the same way. You don't just become a priority once and then stop trying. You have to maintain your value every day. Imagine you have a beautiful garden. If you stop watering the plants, the weeds will grow and the flowers will die. Many men become an option in long-term relationships because they get lazy. They stop going to the gym, they stop leading, and they start asking for permission for everything. Today, we are going to look at how to stay the king of your kingdom, even after you have been with a woman for many years. We will learn how to handle tests and how to keep the respect alive so that you are never put on the back burner. Most people watch to be entertained. You're likely here to be informed. This channel is a space for those who hold themselves to a higher standard of logic. If that resonates, subscribe and join a community that values deep psychology over cheap drama. I want to see your perspective in the comments. This is a place for data and dialogue, not judgment. If you're ready for the truth, stay tuned. One of the most important things to understand is the comfort trap. In psychology, this is when someone becomes so used to you being there that they forget you are a person with your own needs and rules. They start to think you are part of the furniture. When this happens, they stop trying to impress you. They might start being late, or they might stop listening when you talk. A man who refuses to be an option knows how to break this trap. He does this by staying unpredictable. This doesn't mean being crazy. It means having your own life, your own friends, and your own goals that do not involve her. When she sees that you are still moving, she has to move to keep up with you. Many men think that comfort is the goal of a relationship, but in reality, respect is the goal. You can be comfortable with a dog, but you respect a lion. A woman wants to feel safe with you, but she also needs to feel that you are a man of high value who could leave if the respect stops. This is the edge that keeps a relationship exciting. If you lose your edge and become a nice, safe option, the attraction will die. You must keep your mystery. You must keep working on yourself as if you were still single. When you look your best and feel your best, you remind her why she chose you in the first place. Have you ever noticed that the more you try to please someone, the less they seem to appreciate it? Tell us in the comments, why do you think humans value things more when they have to work for them? Have you seen this happen in your own life? We also have to look at the law of withdrawal. Sometimes the best way to get someone's attention is to stop giving it yours. If you feel like you are being ignored or treated like a backup plan, do not shout and do not beg. Simply withdraw your energy. Spend more time at the gym. Spend more time with your brothers. Be polite when you speak to her, but be short. This creates a vacuum. In psychology, a vacuum must be filled. When she feels the space where your attention used to be, she will wonder what happened. She will start to chase your attention again. This is much better than arguing because it lets her choose to come back to you. Let's look at a story about a man named Brian. Brian had been with a woman named Jennifer for 3 years. Lately, Jennifer was always on her phone when they were together. She stopped asking Brian how his day was. Brian felt like he was just an option for when her friends weren't around. At first, Brian got angry and said, "Put your phone down." This only made Jennifer roll her eyes. Then, Brian decided to change. He stopped asking to hang out. He started taking a boxing class 3 nights a week. He was home later and he was tired but happy. The positive outcome for Brian was the return of interest. After 1 week, Jennifer noticed the change. She asked, "Why are you so busy lately?" Brian just smiled and said, "I'm focused on my training." Jennifer suddenly started putting her phone away. She started making his favorite meals. She realized that Brian was a man who was going somewhere, and she didn't want to be left behind. Brian learned that you cannot force respect with words, but you can command it with your actions. By focusing on his own growth, he became the priority again, without saying a single word. What do you do when you feel someone pulling away? Do you run after them, or do you stand your ground and work on yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments. It is a hard test for every man, but it is the only way to keep your dignity. Another rule to stay a priority is never give up your hobbies for a woman. If you love playing football or fixing cars or reading history, keep doing it. Your hobbies are part of what makes you a man. When you give them up to spend more time with her, you become less interesting. You are telling her that your interests are not important. A man who refuses to be an option keeps his fire alive. This fire is what attracted her to you in the beginning. If you let the fire go out, the relationship will get cold. You must also understand the test of character. Sometimes a woman will test your rules to see if you are really the captain of your ship. She might ask you to change your plans, or she might speak to you in a way that is a little bit rude. If you let it happen once, it will happen 100 times. A man of value catches the small things. He says, "I don't like it when you speak to me that way." Or, "I have plans at 7, so I cannot change my schedule today." He is not angry, but he is as firm as a rock. When you pass these tests, her respect for you grows deeper. She feels she can lean on a man who is that strong. Finally, remember that the power to walk away is the only real power. This is the ultimate rule for a man who refuses to be an option. If the relationship becomes toxic, if she is unfaithful, or if she refuses to respect your boundaries after you have spoken clearly, you must be able to leave. If you stay in a place where you are not valued, you are telling the world that you have no value. But when you walk away from a bad situation, you are making a sacrifice for your own future. You are saying that your peace is worth more than a relationship that hurts you. When you live this way, you become a magnet for the right kind of people. You attract women who value self-respect and who want to build a life with a man who is strong and certain. You stop being a choice and you become a standard. And once you become the standard, you will never be an option again. You are the captain, you have your map, and you are moving toward your island. The right people will be happy to be on your ship, and they will follow your rules because they know the trip is worth it. Staying until the end isn't just about finishing a video. It's about refusing to look away from the truth. I appreciate you being here for the full conversation. It shows you're ready to apply what you learn rather than just hearing it. Subscribe to lock in this standard for yourself. We're building a community where boundaries and self-respect are the baseline, not the exception. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm looking forward to reading your take. Keep challenging the narrative. I'll see you in the next one.